Trump's DOJ versus James Comey, the case that's already falling apart. So friends, as you already know, Donald Trump's Department of Justice is now targeting former FBI Director James Comey in what looks like a political prosecution disguised as law enforcement. To make it happen, Trump tapped one of his most loyal allies, his former personal attorney and insurance lawyer, Lindsay Halligan, to step into the role of prosecutor and walk into a grand jury to secure an indictment. But that move is now backfiring fast. Because Halligan handling her very first criminal case is being called out by the federal judge overseeing it for failing to turn over what she was ordered to produce. And what she failed to hand over might be exactly what brings this entire case crashing down. Let's talk about it because justice matters. Halligan's grand jury presentation was supposed to be routine: present evidence, follow procedure, and let the jurors decide. Instead, it became a procedural train wreck. Sources close to the case describe basic mistakes, inconsistent paperwork, after-hours sessions, even two versions of the same indictment signed under her name. Veteran attorneys say that's almost unheard of for a federal prosecutor. Comey's defense team moved quickly, filing motions to dismiss the indictment and questioning Halligan's appointment itself, arguing that her actions inside the grand jury room were so irregular they likely tainted the outcome. The presiding judge, Cameron McGowan Curry, has now demanded the full transcript of the grand jury proceedings, every word spoken before, during, and after the testimony. But when Halligan finally submitted the materials, key sections were missing, including her own remarks. In other words, the most important part of the record, the prosecutor's own words, just wasn't there. The judge didn't appreciate that. She's now ordered Halligan and the Justice Department to submit the complete transcript and recordings no later than Wednesday at 5 p.m. It's a direct signal that the court suspects something's off. Now, if you've never seen how a grand jury works, here's why this matters. Everything said in that room is recorded, every word. It's the cornerstone of transparency and fairness in the federal system. Prosecutors are trained for months before they ever speak in front of a grand jury precisely to avoid these kinds of mistakes. But Halligan skipped that experience entirely. She was sent in cold, and now the fallout is hitting the courtroom floor. What the judge wants to know is simple. Did Halligan follow the law? Did she mislead jurors? And was this indictment the product of politics instead of evidence? Because if the answer to any of those questions is yes, the case could be thrown out with prejudice. That means it can't be brought back ever. This is bigger than one prosecutor or one defendant. It's about what happens when political loyalty is chosen over professional competence. Trump replaced seasoned prosecutors with loyalists willing to follow orders, no matter the legal cost. But power without skill always ends the same way in chaos. And that's exactly what we're watching play out. Every missing record, every delayed submission, every procedural violation erodes credibility. And in a courtroom, credibility is the only currency that matters. If this indictment collapses, and all signs suggest it might, it won't just take down this one case. It'll expose the entire pattern, political prosecutions rushed, improvised, and destined to fail. And every time one of these cases falls apart, Trump's myth of control weakens. Because you can threaten your enemies all day long, but if you can't follow the law, you lose the only battle that counts, the one inside the courtroom. So let's call this what it is, not a show of strength, but a collapse of credibility. A rookie prosecutor, an incomplete record, and a federal judge who's already running out of patience. Justice doesn't move fast, but it moves forward, and when it catches up, it leaves no doubt about who is playing games and who is playing by the rules. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much power you hold, you can't rewrite procedure. And when the transcript finally speaks, it might tell a story that ends this case for good. Justice matters. And this time, it might just matter more than ever